Good evening and blessings, everybody out there. What's going on? It's your man, Rod Hickman. Generational Wealth Builders, where poverty's in with us. Look, been a long time. Shouldn't have left you. Okay, that shows y'all my age. But look at here, man. It's been a minute since I was able to get on. We've been grinding, been going through a few things in my health, but thank God he's yet a healer. So we appreciate that. Appreciate the Lord for what he's doing. But again, missed y'all a little bit there. I really, really did. Super excited. We got a lot of things going on. My wife and I, we've been doing some major things here within our business, within the Generational Wealth Builders business. We have some, again, just some major announcements that are coming down the pipe because we are builders. We're planters, we're pioneers, and we're super thankful to be able to be in an industry where we're able to teach people how they can go forth and how they can help their community and transform their community as far as the socioeconomic challenges that are being faced in America. And so we're super excited about that. Got some good news. We're getting ready to go to Fort Myers, Florida. So if you're in the Fort Myers, Florida area, we are going to be headed your way. Fort Myers, Lehigh, we're going to be down there this coming Friday. I think that's July the 25th, I want to say it is. But my wife and I are going to be down there because we have some agents down there. We have a tremendous agency that is budding down there. Bishop Eric Johnson, Latoya Cheeseborough, Terrence Newton. Again, they are doing some phenomenal things down there. And so we're just going down there to celebrate with them as they get ready to launch their business. So again, we're super excited. So if you're in the Fort Myers area, we definitely want you to be there. Come on out, just say hello, hear a little bit about what we're talking about. Again, if you're there, I want to see you in the place. So again, that'll be a great opportunity for us to meet. Then additionally, we have some other great news. August 16th, I am super excited about this event that's getting ready to happen that you should see on your screen. It is the Total Man Renewed Men's Conference. And I am super excited because I have some of my friends. I've called up some heavy hitters because I believe that right now there are a lot of men that are out there struggling. There are a lot of men out there that want to do the right thing, but they feel isolated because they've not been in a place where they can actually hear some things that they need to hear, where they can get connected with strong men that have been through some things, come through on the other side. And so we're super excited about this, right? We're going to really, really be marketing this hard because, again, this is a phenomenal event. But I can tell you some of the people that are going to be in the place. Some of our facilitators, one of them is Dr. Jason Cannon, the CEO of the Cannon Chiropractic Movement. Again, talking to us about health. Again, y'all know men, we don't go get checked out like we're supposed to now. Y'all know that, right? But he's just going to talk a little bit about that, why we need to do that. Again, got some of my friends that are business owners in the trades. They're going to talk about how you can get into the trades. Things of that nature. Again, we're talking about fathers taking their roles in the home. We're going to have Coach Z talking about, what's going on in the school system with our children and how, because of the lack of men really being in the home, is translating to truancy within our school system. Fellas, that's something that we need to hear. So again, that's what it is. We've already put out the Eventbrite. If you want to attend the registration, just go to the Eventbrite. All you have to do is just follow those instructions there. We hope to see your face in the place, right? So again, more to come about that. Again, I'm super excited about that. We do have sponsorship opportunities. We do have vendor. We have a limited amount of vendor booths. Don't want it to become a flea market or a circus, but we do have a limited amount of vendor booths that we are going to be there. I can tell you that we are going to be doing headshots there. So we have, again, a good friend of mine that's going to be offering professional headshots for $50. Now, y'all know, again, you ain't finna get no professional headshot for no $50. I'm just saying what I'm saying. But again, this is what we're doing. These are my friends that I'm calling in and say, hey, man, look, let's do this for men. So again, that's what we're super duper excited about. So again, men, I'm putting that out there. Ladies, sorry, this ain't for you. Again, I know, but guess what you can do? You can actually tell another man so that they can come. And again, we've also opened this up to teenagers, right? Again, if you're 16 and up, we want you there. Another vendor that I'm gonna have there, got a brother that I just met, because I just got my first custom suit. Well, it's really not my first custom suit, y'all. is my first custom suit in the U.S. When I was stationed in Korea, everybody that went to Korea got one of them custom suits. So what he said on Rush Hour, cheap suit. Yeah. I had my first customized suit was a cheap suit. But again, I got my first customized suit of quality made. He's going to be there because, again, I believe that we as men have to get back to the point where we're dressing the part, right? We have to get back to those days where, again, we look like what we stand for, and that's royalty. So, again, super excited about that. Again, that's what I want to say, right? That's one of my announcements. Now, let's get on to it. I have a guest with me today, and this person is somebody that I love. This is a person who I'll put on stripes for this individual. And I ain't, y'all know the stripes I'm talking about. I wear orange jumpsuit with them orange slippers for this one right here. This lady has done some amazing things. This lady has, before my eyes, transformed. She's beautiful on the inside as well as the outside. So I don't want to call her a caterpillar because she ain't ugly. But she went through that metamorphosis. I've watched her down through the years grow. I've watched her down through the years, again, grow into now the chief operating officer of the Generational Wealth Builders Organization. Everybody out there, y'all show some love to Lady Christy Hickman. Yeah, hey, Christy, yeah, you're great. Lady Hickman, how are you?
I'm great. Doing great.
All right. So glad to have you on. What you got to say to the people today? What you got to say to the people?
Well, hello, everyone. I'm excited to be with you all once again. Actually missed the radio days. It's kind of remind me of doing the live Kingdom conversations. So, yeah, this is good. Good to be back out.
Yeah, those were the days, right? Those really, really were the days. All right. So, listen. Tonight, what we're talking about, folks, are the right life insurance, right? Because I keep hearing out there in the marketplace that people are saying insurance is a scam, right? That's what I hear people saying. And so I'm not here to I'm not here to argue that point, right? Because in some cases, I might be able to argue that certain type of insurances are a scam. Case in point, auto insurance. If I'm paying y'all to protect my car and I get into an accident, my premium shouldn't have to go up. I'm just saying. And let's say I go 50 years and I don't have an accident, y'all should break somebody off. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to argue that. However, life insurance is not a scam. But even when I think about that, and this is why I want a Lady Hickman on here, because y'all, she's the better part of me. So, but here's the thought that I have. There are some insurances out there, because all insurance and all life insurance is not created equal. Is it actually a scam? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And so with that being said, Lady Hickman, I've kind of laid it out there. What do you think about what I've said so far? Are certain life insurances actually a scam?
I wouldn't say that they're actually a scam. I would say that they don't offer the best, what's in the best interest of the client.
Okay.
So there is coverage, but it's not adequate coverage, or it's not coverage that gives the client everything that they could possibly use in it. What I'm learning is a lot of people, because they don't have the knowledge of how life insurance works, it's easy for someone to come in your home and sit with you and tell you, hey, this is what you need at this cost. Or it's easy because some individuals are focused more so on the transaction, that families are severely underinsured, only because they wanted to save a buck. And what I've learned is that people actually, they'll spend money on what they find value in. And so if we're not giving them value in what it is that we are presenting to them when we're sitting in their homes, of course I'm gonna go the lowest route. I think we all like a deal of some sort. I personally like, being able to go into the store and find something of value and getting it at a low cost. That's kind of how the Blazer came about. But with that being said, I think that because they're not seeing the value, and again, because as a professional, sometimes we don't offer them everything, part and partial, because we have not studied what it is that we're offering to our clients, and so we're doing them a disservice also. So I do believe that if anyone is in this industry, they should definitely study their craft, study what it is that they're offering their clients, and always look in the best interest of the family that you're serving.
Okay, that's a very fair point. So what I'm hearing you say is it's not so much of the product, but the presenter.
Yes.
Okay, I can buy that, right? Because, and I can agree with that, right? Because some people are money motivated, right?
Agreed.
They're not legacy motivated. They're not thinking about the individual. And again, I think a lot of that is because certain people have quotas that they have to hit, right? And if you don't hit these quotas, then you're not going to make X amount of dollars, right? I can agree with that. Yeah, I can agree wholeheartedly with that. Thank you. See, y'all, that's why I have Lady Hickman on, right? Because again, like I say, I can see it, right? I can see how if I'm trusting an individual to give me what's best, when I sit down with that individual, I have an expectation that them as a fiduciary are doing the right thing. So I get that. So it's not so much insurance, it's the individual. All right. So let's talk a little bit about that. When Lady Hickman, you're doing a phenomenal job out there. You're in the field, you're helping families. What are some of the things when it comes to insurance policies that you're seeing? What are some of the things that you're seeing with respect to that other policies may not have versus what the policies from our people have? What are some of the things that you're seeing that people don't have that's causing for there be such a shift where they're now buying our products? What's some of the things? What's one of the major things you're seeing?
The biggest thing is the living benefits, or what we call accelerated death benefits. That's the biggest thing. I think also the other thing would be that how we can get people covered that are normally deemed uninsurable, because some companies have a select number of carriers that they use. And so being able to offer more for people who may have maybe diabetes or, high blood pressure or HIV. So being able to now give them more options and cater to their specific needs. A lot of times people are not just looking for life insurance to bury them. They're looking for life insurance as a way to supplement their retirement, or they're looking for life insurance as a way to create generational wealth. They're also looking for life insurance to go and I would say create money by way of the cash value that's offered in some of the types of policies that we have. So people use that to now fund something else that they want to do to create residual income in another way.
Exactly right. Yeah, no. And I think that's what I see. And for y'all out there that are watching, and again, shout out to bro Ozell, GWB United up there in Union City. What's going on, big dog? We got Latoya Cheeseborough on there. So again, hey, what's going on? She's actually the one, when y'all heard me earlier talking about how we're going to Fort Myers, she's the one having her business launch. So again, super excited to see you on the call. Know she's going to do some great things. Y'all going to hear that name. But again, I think you brought up a very valid point. The living benefits are definitely a added I think it's a must in life insurance because, so let me explain what the living benefits are, or the technical term is the accelerated death benefit rider. And what that means, folks, is that if the person that's covered, if they are diagnosed with a critical, chronic, and or terminal illness or injury, heart attack, stroke, cancer, end-stage renal failure, get hit by a bus, whatever the case may be, the life insurance company is going to say, sorry about what you're going through. Based on the severity of what you have, we're going to give you a check from your death benefit right now. So imagine, if you would, how many times have we been on the job? You hear about old Frank. Frank had a heart attack. Frank had a stroke. This happened. That happened. Susie got breast cancer, whatever the case may be. They can't work. And so now what happens is that now people are trying to figure out what they're going to do for money. And normally the first place they run to is their 401k, which is the absolute worst thing you can do. Because literally what you're doing, you're robbing your future self for today, right? Not to mention the taxes and all that you got to pay on it. But you're robbing your future self, your retirement self from today. So what the living benefits will do is say, hey, man, you got this $500,000 policy. We're going to give you 70, 80% of that for you to get better right now. That's what the living benefits do. And I know one of the things I see when I sit down with families is that it doesn't have the living benefits. And that's one of the most immediate pieces of value that I add to a client right there, the living benefits. And because it's not just about cost. That's something that you said earlier. A lot of people are locked in about cost. It's not about cost. It's about value.
Right.
And with that, I think you knocked it out the park with that one. The living benefits are important. Additionally, what you can do for it from a fiscal standpoint, I think that being able to understand that you can grow money in a life insurance policy and utilize that as a tax-free retirement vehicle or a tax-advantaged retirement vehicle. People don't know about that. I was literally having a conversation with a young man today. This young man's 22 years young. And he's like, well, when I get out of college, I'm going to get my job and I'm going to start contributing to my 401k. And so I said to him, hey, man, you got money in a CD. Why don't you roll that money into a fixed index annuity? Let that money grow for you. So that money there is going to be your retirement money. And then what you do, instead of contributing to the company 401k, and what I'm going to do, I'm not trying to be that guy. Y'all go watch some of my other videos on my YouTube page about the 401k. I'm not going to do that tonight. But you start contributing to that life insurance policy, what you would normally contribute to your 401k. And now you start building a nest egg that you actually have access to. So if 15, 20 years down the road, you want to buy a house, you don't have to go and pull from your 401k. You don't have to go get in debt. You now have monies that you've already been growing in your life insurance policy. So you bring up two incredible points. Job well done, Hickman. I'm proud of you. All right. So with that being said, that was just a really great point. I really don't know where I want to go from here. All right. So let's just jump right into it. The living benefits. Let's go back to that. You know, I know we've had conversations about this. But can you tell us about a situation where you sat down with someone or you talked with someone, you provided them a life insurance quote, and they did not respond, and then you heard about something happening where where if they would have responded, they would have been able to take advantage of the living benefits?
I think it has happened quite a bit. We've presented options to clients, and either a health related situation will happen, or someone has passed that they were looking to get insured and now it's too late, even to the point of them still grasping for straws after that person is no longer with us. And people don't realize that if you don't have it before you die, you cannot get it after you're gone. That's the reason why you want to respond once the information is given to you. The other part of that is the elements. Because people think they have time, a lot of people rely on just what they have on their jobs, and they don't realize that the job offers insurance. Great. It's great that the job offers it and you can afford it. But when you don't have something outside of the job, you're limiting yourself to the living benefits because the job does not offer that. People don't realize that, hey, you're using FMLA, but that's less than what you make weekly or bi-weekly when you can access the living benefits while you're living, and you can get up to 75 to 80% of what you're paying into apart from your job in a private life insurance policy. But yes, we've had people who have had cancer diagnosis after things have been presented to them, and we've had people that who have had strokes after we presented options to them. And the part that I'm most saddened about is I'm a person that I'm going to give you the information to a T where a child can understand it.
Right.
So that you can make an informed decision. And because we have such a misnomer about life insurance, or a mistrust because we've had an encounter with someone who may have not operated in a professional capacity, making sure that you had adequate coverage, then we want to think about it, and we want to pray on it, and we want to go back and talk, all these other things we put before something that's really important has caused us now either to have to wait 2 years before you can get covered, or you can't get covered because you've had a what's called a critical, chronic, or terminal illness happen to you after the product or the services was provided. Yeah, that's something that's is happening often. So we have had even people who we've educated on how to do this, how to educate people, experience some of the exact same things, and families not be covered with adequate insurance. I'll tell anybody, $10,000 is not enough. I can honestly say that I personally have a personal experience with the fact that, not having coverage for a loved one, it stings, because you don't want to have to go and borrow from somebody that has money. And then, of course, it's almost like they hang it over your head that you owe them money for a burial, or even setting up a GoFundMe because you don't have life insurance. And again, what we value is what we invest in, or what we put our money towards. And so I'm seeing that we have the monies to do our leisure, live our leisure life, but life insurance and leaving a legacy behind for your family is not important, and that's a problem right now. Wow. It's a major problem. It's almost sad because people don't realize that, when you leave, this is what your family is stuck with, your generational debts, instead of generational wealth. You leaving them with this, and it becomes a repeating cycle because you didn't see the value of being able to leave an inheritance behind for your children, or even instruction with money, with instruction on what to do with your monies. You didn't leave that. So it speaks a lot, especially from a wife's perspective, because I've seen also where wives, have almost lost their homes, or actually had to sell the home because the husband didn't have insurance, didn't believe in insurance, or didn't have adequate insurance. And so there's a lot of horror stories that I can share. We've had where we've given the quote, not given a quote, had an actual meeting and shared information, and people delayed it, and they got a death notice on the people that they were looking to get covered. And so no insurance was enforced. So yes, I have a lot of horror stories. Don't even like looking back at them, but it's a reality today because we don't see the value in this. But what I will say is I always tell our agents, don't think because they have a German car, they have a really nice home, they have on the nice apparel, the nice shoes, and are always tripping. I say tripping, taking trips and vacationing, that they have their affairs in order. Because I'm telling you, when you close your eyes, it tells a story. There's a story that's being told, especially when people are having to ask for money to bury you. And so I'm challenging and charging people, even if you have a life insurance policy, the life insurance that your grandma got on you is not enough. The life insurance that your mom has on you is not enough. And for those who do have coverage, kudos to you. But I would warn that you should definitely look at your policy annually. If you've had a policy and your life insurance agent has not reached out to you to follow up with you to see what it is that you have, I would love to sit with you and review what you have and make sure that you have adequate insurance. Make sure that you have living benefits because it's needed. We are a generation where heart attacks and strokes, they're happening on a regular because we don't take care of ourselves. And so I would love to sit down and just review something for free to make sure that you have what you need in life insurance. If you've gotten married since you've had life insurance, guess what? You need more life insurance.
That's right.
If you have children and you have not gotten them insurance, they need insurance. Because one thing we don't prepare to do is bury our children. I guess you and I can really attest to this. And I thank God for this business. I thank God for the education that we received that made us move to make sure that both our children were covered. Even though our goal was to make sure that they were set up financially, we never saw ourselves having to bury our children. But I thank God that he pointed us in this direction that we're able to be educated. And when life happened, we didn't have that strain over our heads. So again, it's a thing that I'm really, really passionate about because now I'm doing this business full time and I'm seeing where people have $5,000 of coverage. People have $10,000 of coverage, but you have $100,000 home and you still have a $70,000 balance on your mortgage. You're underinsured.
That's right.
Severely underinsured. And so it's a passion for me to teach people and to make sure that they understand, one, what they have, two, help them realize what they need, even for retirement. And I'll give it back because I feel like I've talked too much. It got me going.
Yeah. I can kind of see that.
Like, right? Pull my coattail, dude.
Yeah, I was trying. I'll get a bail or something.
Nah.
You're doing fine. But again, but no, you brought up so many points, right? And it's about legacy. And I believe a lot of people are not focused on legacy because the nuclear family that we used to have, it's not like it used to be. We used to have a tight-knit family, right, where it meant something. Now, I was reading something, I forgot the numbers, but it talked about families don't even do family reunions anymore. A large number of families don't do family reunions. They don't even miss going to family reunions. Why? Because now people have social groups that they're a part of.
Oh, yeah.
And they deal more in those social groups than they do with their own blood family. And so as a result of that, whereas Big Mama would make sure everybody had a policy. I was talking to a lady up in Louisville, I think it was, wherever I was. No, we were in South, I forgot. But either way, the lady was saying how they got one insurance man, and that insurance man insures the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: not a one of them have more than $100,000 worth of life insurance.
Yikes.
And as a result of that, what's happening is when something happens, now here comes the cup. They got to pass the cup, and it just creates a ripple effect, right? So, not having or having the right amount of life insurance will help you avoid financial hardships for your dependents. And these are not things that people don't know. But I know you have done it, but and you've seen it. Whereas when we do the dime model, where we say, hey man, okay, we're asking you how much life insurance would you want? What do your dream look like? How much life insurance do you want to live? They'll say, well, I want to leave $50,000. But when we go through the dime model, that's when they see that, hey, bro, you really need to leave more like $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.3 million. And they're blown away just by simply going through the dime model. And I'll reference this because you said something earlier that a lot of the time there are insurance agents out there don't even know what the dime model is, because all they're doing is taking orders. You say, hey, I got $100 to spend on my life insurance, and they get you $100 worth of life insurance, and that's just that on that. But they're not even thinking about the financial hardships that they're setting your family up for, because you have so many things, as a family that you do that people don't even take into account for, right? And then, when you have those financial hardships, now you have to think about the emotional and the psychological impact that it's going to have on that family, right? As you said, I hope that I can say this, that no parent out there is getting insurance with the expectation of bearing a child. If you are, you need your head examined, right? You need to be taken to the woodshed and beat. However, what I found out is this, because most people don't plan for it when it happens. Not only are you dealing with the devastation that comes with the loss of a child, but you don't even have time to deal with emotionally. You can't grieve properly because you got to get back to work, because they only give you 3 days off, and you got to get back to work. And you may take a little leave, but now you don't have enough time to actually go and get what you need in order to actually grieve and get better. And that's just one of the things of having the right life insurance, right? That's what it does. I'll give you some space here.
With the first thing you said, the financial strain, people don't realize that. And even with the insurance, like I said, if your family has grown, you need additional insurance. What I'm finding when I do the dime model, or just a free consultation altogether, I'm finding that the lifestyle that you're actually living is more than what you have secured in a life insurance policy. And so whereas I'm having people who they have mortgages, they're underinsured because they only have $100,000. They have debt. That's another factor to consider. You said something earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt, but with that being said, when you have debt, that debt is going to be collected one way or the other. And if you have life insurance out there, and a lot of people, I think this is the friction that people have with life insurance companies. They don't realize that your creditors can hold your life insurance up, collect what you owe them, and your family the rest will be released to your family. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why people have a heartache with life insurance, because they don't understand the ins and outs of it. And so that's why it's so important that we have more than enough. The other thing that I'm finding out when I sit down with families is they don't really understand their retirement number. Even though we're talking about life insurance, part of that can be covered in life insurance, your retirement needs. And so I'm finding out that people are age-wise wanting to retire, but money-wise, they're so not ready. Meaning that you'll retire because of age, and this is where you want to retire, but the lifestyle that you're currently living, you will not be able to afford that when age-wise you're ready to retire, meaning that you're going to run out of money at some point in time, and then you're going to have to go back and figure out how to make ends meet. And so again, it's just the educational piece that we're missing, because if we understood this. That's why I like putting the numbers before my clients so that they can see it. I ask the questions. I ask them to be as transparent as possible because I'm going to let the numbers speak for themselves. And once they see that, they're like scratching their heads like, wait a minute, like I need this. I need this amount of coverage. This is just life insurance, not even a retire number. And then when I show them the retirement number, they're like, okay, I'm nowhere near that. And so that's the part when the light bulb come on and people see that they're not where they need to be financially, that's when I know I have done my part, because now you are charged to make an informed decision. And if you don't make that decision, that's on you. That's and right. Whatever happens when you're no longer here and whatever your family is stuck with. Exactly. And so that's the hard part, but then the emotional side.
Yes.
As a wife or as a husband, I'm learning that there's 52% of Americans that have a life insurance policy.
Okay.
I've learned that 55% of men are more than likely to get insured than women. Now that's an issue. Okay. Because those in most households, the male is the breadwinner. They feel like they're the only ones that need insurance. No, a wife, even if she's a stay-at-home mom, is just as equally important, especially when you're married and you're raising a family. Because God forbid if something happens to that wife prematurely, everything, all the responsibility falls on the husband, and he has to figure out where, pick up where the wife left off. And so insurance plays a major part in that, because let's just say you were the one who's sending the kids to school. Who's going to do that now? You can't quit your job because your family still has to be taken care of. All those things play a part. And I think when I put these numbers before people and I show them this, that's again, like I said, when they're ready to move and make a better decision for their family. And so the educational piece is like the most important part. We have got to shake the mindset of just going into someone's home and giving them something because they only want to pay $100. When I can pay $200 or $300 for a pair of shoes or a trip or whatever I want to do, and then also our children, this is one way that you can create wealth for your children. And I have started charging and challenging families, hey, instead of going all out for Christmas, leave your children some wealth. Mm-hmm. You can put this money in a life insurance policy. They can fund their college. Or, hey, when they get married, you can be a blessing to them because you have put monies away for them in their life insurance policy. This is something that not only am I preaching, I'm doing it. Fact. And so you already know how our household is with our daughter. Like, ma'am, this is what we're doing. And you'll thank me later. But again, the educational piece causes so much an emotional and psychological impact because people don't know. And then now you're no longer here. And I'm trying to figure out how to keep the mortgage up, how to keep the cars without them being repossessed. Like there's a whole thing that rolls out. And then you still have to continue to take care of the family. So that's a lot. I'll give it back to you.
Well, I mean, yeah. And just one of the things that I think about, and, I know on the one hand, we're talking about death, right? Mm-hmm. You want to be prepared in case of death.
Right.
But not having the right life insurance policy, if it's a sickness, if it's an ailment or something like that, it's almost worse. Let me tell you why. Because on the one hand, you have the breadwinner. Mm-hmm. And now that person who was once the champion for the family now begins to feel like a burden, right? Now that spouse that may have been taking care of the children is now forced to go and get a job. And now they're having to go out into an environment that they've not been in, or maybe not been in for a while. How did that make that individual? What does that do for that individual? And that's what people don't understand. It's not just about death. Life happens where people don't die. Mm-hmm. As you said, I tell people you're one phone call away from being uninsurable.
Right.
One. All you have to do is have one phone call come, and you cannot get your family protected.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not preaching fear.
No.
It's really more about value. We're adding value. And you said something so key. I really appreciate it. You know, you take care of what you value. And I remember when we were flying back from South Carolina, and we were on the plane with that young lady who had flew all the way to DC for the Beyonce concert.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember thinking to myself, and I really wanted to ask her, but I said I ain't gonna mess with her because you know, you mess with Beyonce, the whole beehive come after you. So but I think about that. I think about when I see people taking trips. I think about when I see, men being part of motorcycle clubs, hunting, buying guns, stuff like this, that, and the third. But when I talk to you about life insurance, you don't want to have that conversation because you feel like, oh, well, that's going to bring death. Death going to come regardless. But what you've literally said to your family is, I value this, and this more than I value you. That's what they don't understand. And there is a psychological and emotional impact that I believe is going to happen. Now, I don't want to say I can't prove this, but here we go. There is definitely a social and community economic impact that comes from not having the right life insurance. Because once the money stops coming in, if little Junior were playing travel ball, he can't play travel ball no more. If little Susie was in dance, she can't go dance no more. Whatever it is that you were doing that your money was allowing you to do because you were healthy, you were able to go and do all of this, that, and the third, now you're unable to do that. And now the social and your community begins to feel those effects, right? Because now you asking kinfolk, hey, can y'all donate to this? Can you do that? And folk like, sure, man, I'm struggling over here my own self. Folk can't be as benevolent as they used to be simply because they don't have it. So this is where I think the importance and the value that we add is that, life is going to life, and there's nothing that you can do. You don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. And so this is where having the right insurance gives you assurance. It gives you assurance that everything, even though it may not be all right with what you're going through, is going to be all right. Finances will not be an issue. And that's what I think people miss when it comes to having the right life insurance. They don't understand the impacts from the emotional, the psychological, and even the societal impacts. How many homes have been lost because the breadwinner got sick. And now they're sick, they're losing the home. Where they going to go? Where is the family going? Where? And people don't like to think like that, but guess what? It's happening every single day. We're here in Covington, and I believe last week about 4 people died. I could have swore I seen about 4 people, rest in peace, such and such. Oh, I'm going to live now, this, that, and the third. Now, again, that's death again. But these are people now that are getting ready to experience that. How many people now are getting ready to experience that now when all they had to do beforehand was make sure they have the right insurance? Again, we make time for what we value. And, I see people with the boots on the ground. Everybody got these fans. Where these fans at? I'm now saying put them fans down. Please, just put them fans down. Hashtag, if you're listening to me, help me out. Share that and say, put them fans down, right? But either way, getting back to my point. We make value. We make time for what we value. And I find it disturbing that people don't value their families more. I find it terribly distressing and disturbing that we don't put more value on our family. And this takes me to the last point that I'll have, and then I'll give you the last word. Um, listen, um, the Bible tells us that we should be the lender and not the borrower. And it's hard for you to be the lender if you're going to rent your whole life, right? Somebody now owns your house. You remember we were having a conversation with somebody who was talking about my rent went up. I've been staying in such and such for so long, but they took my rent up $500. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, they took your rent up $500. If you can't pay that, no matter how long you've been staying in that place, you now are fresh out of gas. You don't have any equity to pull on. And I think part and parcel of this is because, again, we're underinsured. We're not leaving the right amount of money for our families. And so, again, living benefits, again, they are there to make sure that if it's not fatal, your family can still be taken care of to the point that you do not have to lose your home. What do you got to say about that as we get ready to get out of here?
I just want to make one point that there is over 100 million people, Americans, that are either underinsured or not insured at all.
Mhm.
And while I'm on here, I just want to know, is that you? Are you someone that is going to be a burden on your friends or your family members because you do not have coverage at all or not enough coverage? And like I said, we've seen where people have had to move back in with mom because the husband didn't have enough life insurance, or the family altogether lost the forever home for the family because there was not, like, parent had insurance but just didn't have enough, and no one was there to continue on paying the mortgage and stuff like that. So I really want people to have a better understanding. September is coming up. It's Life Insurance Awareness Month. Definitely looking forward to talking more about this, even leading up to. But we just need to get educated on what life insurance can do for you. It can be a wealth tool for you and your children. You can leave wealth. And then it can also be there, like you said, in the place if anything happens to you. If anything happens, it's telling you strokes and heart attacks are happening to very young people. And then I was just looking and seeing, like, I'm curious. So I just pulled up some statistics, right? The percentage of those who are covered. We have, with the baby boomers, that's ages 59 to 78, about 58% have life insurance, have policies in place. And then you have your Gen X, which is 43 through 58, about 54%. That's very alarming.
Right.
Then you have your millennials, 27 to 42. They're even more underinsured. That's about 48%.
Wow.
And these are the people who are living their best life and
Right.
have the means and have the money to make sure that, hey, they're financially secure using life insurance. Then you have your Gen Zs, which is 18 to 26. It's about 40%. And so it was important to, what am I saying? It was important to our grandparents. They understood the value of it. They understood the importance of making sure that we have that conversation. This is something that families don't want to do anymore. Like, oh, we don't want to talk about life insurance because people are going to die. People are going to die anyway.
Facts.
They're going to die anyway.
Facts.
But I want to have that conversation. And I think I harp on it so much because I just want to make sure that things are in order, even when I close my eyes. Whenever the Lord decides to call me home, look, I want to make sure that all the way down to what I want in my funeral, you all know what it is. You know what I mean? And so we need to have those conversations.
That's right.
Stop avoiding the conversation of having adequate life insurance, especially if you know you got a family that's depending on you as a husband and a wife. Or
That's
even if you're a single parent, you definitely need just as much insurance because you have a family that's depending on you. But we got to stop avoiding the conversation of life insurance. And if you're in a place where you don't understand the ins and outs, I'm here to just give free information.
That's right.
I'm more about making sure that you're aware of what's available, more so than doing a transaction. I give you the information and you go down the street, but I just want you to know what it is that's available to you as a life insurance professional. Because when I look at my clients' policies, and I'm realizing that, hey, you've had this policy 11 years. You heard from your life insurance provider maybe the first 2 or 3 years after they got their premium or their what is it? They've gotten paid, they've gotten their commission, and all these things have transpired. Now here it is, you're 60, 70 years old. Life insurance costs a little bit more, and guess what? You got a mortgage, and you only got about 17,000. I remember looking at one person only had about $17,000. And I'm saddened because now I'm having to show you what life insurance costs at 60, 70 plus years old, when if we were doing our job as life insurance professionals, so that's a charge to those who hold a license. Make sure that you're doing right by your client. Are you following up with them? Are you checking in, making sure that what they have still meets their family's needs? We have to do that. And that will actually eliminate some of the sting that comes with being a life insurance professional. I love what I do. I love educating people, but because people don't do a efficient job and they don't do right by their clients,
right.
It has had a bad name. But you know what? What I realize is once life happens and that family is able to receive a death benefit, they don't have an attitude then. And so I'll continue to educate people. I'll continue to speak those things about life insurance until someone, it falls on the right heart and someone realize, hey, this is what I need. And I can change someone's family life forever. And so I'll keep doing that until I decide to just be a mentor. But in the meantime, I'm running and I'm gunning and I'm just looking forward to help people. That's all I want to do. Help people understand what's available to them.
That's right. Listen, that was a tremendous point that you made. Um, and this is, I want to make sure that there is a call to action for our listeners out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the call to action. Look at your life insurance policy. Call your agent and ask them, first of all, do you have the living benefits or the accelerated death benefit rider? Ask them if you have that. If not, ask them why not. Because literally all you have then is a death insurance policy. You don't have a life insurance policy. You have a death insurance policy. That's number one. Secondly, after you ask them that, you need to make sure you have a clear understanding of your policy, right? And what value will your family get from your policy? And I would say quiz if you did not do the dime model, DIME, if you did not do the dime model with your agent to find out what your actual insurable need is, then more than likely you're underinsured, right? More than likely you are. I can pretty much tell you. Why do I know that? Because I sit down with people and I quiz them first to see if they know how much life insurance they need. And that's before we go through the dime model. And then when I take them through the dime model, you heard my wife say, they're like, man, I didn't know that, right? And so that's what we do. And a lot of times people think that, well, oh, that company over there or this company here or that agent there, has your best interest in mind because they smile and grin in your face. No, you don't know what they're smiling about, right? And I remember when we were in Fort Lauderdale on our anniversary. And for those of y'all out there, I'm gonna just tell you something. We work even on holidays around here. We're professionals, right? We were down there celebrating, but yet and still we were working. And we sat down with the lady, and this lady told us that she had $150,000 worth of life insurance. And I said, "Well, ma'am, pull up your policy." And I showed her with her policy, and the lady only had $50,000 worth of life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So here she is. She's telling me, she's telling her daughter, I got $150,000 worth of life insurance. But she really only had $57,000 or $50,000, something like that. My point in that being, you got to ask questions about your policy. And here's the thing. If you do not understand it, never, ever be afraid to go and get a second opinion.
Right.
Just make sure that the person is objective. That's all I'll say to you. Make sure that they're objective and that they know what they're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. We educate our clients. And, I can't tell you how many people have come in this office or have called me or been on Zoom, and they're like, well, I want to get this insurance and this, that, and other. But I talk them to death about it because I need them to understand what they're getting. Why is that? That way, if you have a full understanding of what you're getting, if I show you chapter and verse in your policy or in the illustration, now you know.
Mm-hmm.
And an informed people make informed decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say to you, folks. Make sure that you always ask questions about your policy. Go get it out. Go pull it out. If you got, let me just say it like this here. My wife is nice. Y'all know I'm me. If you are a single person, with no children, the bare bone amount of life insurance you need is $500,000. Why do I need $500,000? Because you need the living benefits. Because God forbid, if you get sick, who's gonna take care of you? Who's gonna take care of you? If your folks are older, who's gonna take care of you? See, these are the things we don't think about. So if you have living benefits give up to 80%. That now means, boom, you got $400,000 right there. That at least gives you some time to do something, to get something set up for something or whatever the case may be. That's what you need. If you have children, right, you have to ask yourself, who's going to take care of my babies if I get sick, right? Again, you need more insurance. If you're married, you need more insurance. If you're a homeowner, you need to have at least $1 million worth of life insurance. Why? To make sure that your home gets paid off, and additionally to make sure, and again, you leave behind years of your income for your family. People don't think about that. And like I say, I'm not gonna say most, I can't say that, but a lot of the companies whose policies we take from our clients wanting now to come over to us, a lot of them are finding out that, man, look, this is crazy. I can't believe I had this policy for so long and it's doing me no good. And these people act like they help me out. And again, we run into that so much. So here's the last point. The last point is this. Stop being cheap. You value what you value. If somebody is trying to tell you that, hey, those ones that carry your last name, those ones that you get up every day to go to work for, those ones that you do what you do for, if they mean something to you, then it's hard for you to say, I love them, but yet and still you're going to leave them in financial ruins if something happened to you. It's extremely hard for you to say that, and I believe it's a bit disingenuous. If you love people, I often say love is an action word. And I ain't bragging, but right now I got almost $2 million on me in case something happened to me, so that my wife and my daughter are taken care of. Jody won't be around here for a little while, right? It might give him about 6-7 years, depending on how she spend that money, right? But Jody ain't coming, right? Again, for a lot of people, Jody is right there as soon as she passed. How you know? Because you got the GoFundMe up there. Oh yeah, y'all can y'all help out? Because old Cleve didn't leave nothing behind for so and so. Jody right there. Now your children having to call another, hey, Mr. So and so and so and so. You ain't even cold. You ain't even cold in the ground yet. You ain't even cold in the freezer yet. And old Clarence done slid up in your house wearing your slippers. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Take some time out. Make sure that you have the right life insurance, because the right life insurance is for the living. All right, folks, that's our time. Again, just kind of want to remind you one more time about the Total Man Renewed Men's Conference. Again, we have tickets on Eventbrite. Go to the Rod Hickman Generational Wealth Builders page. You will see where you can go ahead on and register for that event. Again, if you want to be a sponsor, again, you can text that number that is on the flyer. We are looking for a wonderful time for our sponsors and our vendors. And again, here in Covington, Tennessee. Again, our goal is to reach men, to have men get back to the place where they're walking in purpose and in victory. Well, folks, that's our time. I'm Rod. This is my lovely wife, Christy Hickman. And as always, remember what I always tell y'all: knowledge is not power until it is applied. You can have an 18-wheeler truck gassed up, ready to go, and you can redline it. But it's not until you apply the clutch and you put it in gear that you're actually going to go forward. And that's the same thing with this information that we just gave you. So please put this information to use. Go out there and be great. Until next time, we love y'all. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye and bye-bye. All right.